Welcome back, class. Today we are going to be talking about hunting. Check in the description below for timestamps for each topic so that you can skip around to whatever you need. Also, remember this is a guide for people who want to do stuff without the market. So people who use the market will still be able to find some use with this video, but not everything I say here applies. With that said, let's get into this. The first question is, why hunt? The reason to hunt is for resources you get from animals. This includes blood, meat, hide, or feathers. You can also get black gems, sharp blackstones, kaffir stones, a few other enhancement materials, and some stuff to make furniture that will give you buffs. One other benefit is you can get materials for Dreamhorse Awakening as well. Next, let's talk about mastery and level. Level allows you to use better weapons, but this can be bypassed by mastery. Hitting Guru lets you load in one more matchlock shot, so you get 4 instead of 3, but in reality, level doesn't matter except for the highest tier matchlock and sniper. Mastery, what it does is it allows you to collect more items and rarer items, and also lets you bypass the level requirement for all but the top tier matchlocks. I would strongly recommend getting a 901 mastery before you even start hunting so that you have a chance at the best items. Gathering mastery does not affect hunting in any way, it's all based on hunting mastery. So just keep that in mind that you don't need to worry about gathering mastery even though you are using a butcher's knife. Meaning you can use literally any butcher knife in the game and it won't really change anything, so just use a repairable one. Now let's talk about the types of hunting. There's sniper hunting and matchlock hunting. While most things apply similarly, there is one key difference, and that is critical hit level does not apply to sniper hunting. But let's talk about the character stats and just ignore critical hit when it comes to sniper hunting. So, in your P window, you have abilities, and the important ones for hunting are attack speed, which increases your reload speed, movement speed, which obviously increases your movement speed, critical hit to crit more often, this only works with matchlocks, and finally gathering, which increases how fast you gather. Ideally, you want to hit level 5 on all of these, but if you aren't, don't sweat it too much. It's not going to make a world of a difference, but it is nice to have all of them. Also, while you are gathering from the animal you kill, you will use 1 energy. For those stats that I talked about above, we will talk about them a little bit more in depth on how to get them later, but just know that you want to have them maxed out. Next up, let's talk about equipment. If you need a guide on mastery equipment, my mastery guide will be in the description below. But for specifically hunting, I suggest full Manos. This is the accessories and hunter's clothes. Again, the accessories are also in the mastery guide, as well as pretty much everything else you're going to need to know. But for the hunter's clothes specifically, you're going to need 30 gold topaz, which is made from 7 resplendent topaz and 3 gem polishers. You're going to need 5 Manos stones bought from any jeweler NPC, 50 magical shards, and 15 dusk-laden cotton, which is made from cotton fabric and oil of fortitude. And lastly, you're going to need 50 fire horns, which you get through hunting. If you can't afford to make this, go ahead and buy Logia hunter clothes from Zaira and enhance those up, and also Logia accessories. Now let's talk about artifacts, lightstones, and crystals. For artifacts, I suggest you use hunting mastery artifacts. If you don't have those, just use general life skill mastery. I don't really suggest hunting EXP or life EXP. You can if you don't have either of those, but I would just suggest using the mastery. For your lightstones, there are 2 different set effects that I suggest using. If you are not capped on attack speed and crit, go with Canine Tooth, which is a lightstone of Flora, Trap, and Track, and then a lightstone of Fire, Claws, and then an iridescent lightstone. If you are capped on those, you still will benefit greatly from using those, but if you would like to, you can get a little bit more mastery by doing Legendary Marksman, which is 3 lightstones of Flora Tracks and an iridescent lightstone. If you don't have an iridescent lightstone and somehow have 4 Flora Tracks, then just throw in 4 of those and you'll get slightly less. If you have none of these set effects though, I would just suggest throwing in any hunting XP, attack speed level, critical strike, or hunting mastery. For crystals, I suggest you use anything that gets your stats to level 5. So this is your critical hit stat, this is your attack speed stat, all of those. You also can get some back attack and crit damage, and those will help out as well. If you are struggling with killing things and dying, you can use some health crystals and damage resistance crystals. And other than that, vital crystals should probably fill up the rest of your stuff. And honestly, try to hit 2k mastery, and if you pass it, then you can use the other stuff. Next, let's talk about consumables and buffs. I highly suggest you have an infinite potion and a fairy with miraculous cheer 5. While you don't need this, it helps a ton. For your food buff, I suggest using a seafood cron meal, or you can use an exquisite cron meal if you would like, but I would just suggest the seafood. For elixirs and drafts, I just suggest using whatever you have. If you don't really have anything, don't worry about them. But anything that's going to give you more attack speed, critical hit damage, any of that type of stuff, life EXP, whatever you want to use. And then drafts, the Verdure draft is pretty good. So any of those would work. And then finally, for your alchemy stone, I suggest you use the Treant's Tear, which is a super easy one to get. Or if you have it, use Khan's Heart over that. Next, let's talk about guns. So for matchlocks, I suggest never using any matchlock that isn't Artisan 10. Just get those. You get one from leveling up, but you can also craft them in a level 3 tool workshop. Craft them, you're going to need 1 fir timber, 5 steel, 1 platinum ingot, and 10 blackstone powder. For a guide on workers, check the description below. You can equip this if you have 400 mastery or if you are professional 10. So hitting 400 mastery is a piece of cake. I would suggest you don't use anything else, and you can force and enhance this up, and you can either use memory fragments or you can craft extra matchlocks to use to repair the max durability. Next up though, let's talk about the master matchlock. As soon as you hit Artisan 10, I suggest you craft this because you can't use this one and bypass it with mastery, so you need to be Artisan 10. To get this matchlock, you need 100 thornwood planks, 50 nickel ingots, and 200 blackstone powder, as well as a level 10 artisan matchlock. The last ingredient is a fairly special one that we're going to talk about later, but it's 5 Breath of Narkians, and we will talk about that in a bit. You can also increase the durability with a Rar Heart, which we will also talk about later. For your snipers, you use manufacturing on 3 pure iron crystals, 20 steel, 1 log, and 1 fine hard hide. As soon as you hit Artisan 10, you can make the Marnie sniper rifle, but this is pretty expensive. So you need 1,000 mysterious powder, which you can get from nodes in Land of Morning Light, 1,000 fire horns, which you get from hunting, 10 resplendent obsidian, 10 scorching sun gemstones, which are from Calpheon Elvia, and then lastly, a level 10 sniper rifle. You need to also do this at the Dokkaebi Forest node at the Dokkaebi Tool Workshop, so you have to have a worker make it. You can also get another sniper, but it's from a quest line, and we'll talk about that later, and it's a lower tier sniper. Now let's talk about some important quests and the progression pass. The Chuck Lowry quests are a great starting point. You start this quest at David Finto, and it will take you to Chuck Lowry. It's called Chuck Lowry the Hunter. You're going to want to follow this quest line all the way. It is in your suggested quest tab. And finishing this chain will give you something very important, which is a Breath of Narkion. And these are used to upgrade your Master Matchlock. You can also get 2 more of these from your hunting portion of the progression pass, and that's at the top right of your screen. And so just complete as many of these as you can to be able to get those. Now, we will talk a little bit more on the other ways to get those, but another important quest you should do is the Hunting Leap quests, and let's get into the mechanics of how to actually hunt before we talk about getting more Breath of Narkions. Hunting can be like a little bit unintuitive, but I don't think it's very hard. So let's talk about matchlock hunting first. To reload your matchlock, you press right click and it will reload it. It holds up to 3 shots, 4 if you're Guru. Then you're gonna aim at your target and there will be like a red crosshair that shows up on your target. And when that pops up, you're gonna press left click to shoot. You're gonna wanna try to back attack if you can. Also, use Q to crouch and that will increase your range and it will increase your reload speed. Crouching does make it a little bit faster to kill things. The trade-off with crouching is that you can't move as fast, but you can do dodge rolls if you press shift and a directional input, and that will make you roll and you are invincible while you are rolling. Now let's talk about sniper hunting. So one thing about sniper hunting is you cannot use a controller while sniper hunting, so you have to use mouse and keyboard. So to do it, you press right click to zoom in on your scope. You're going to always aim for the head. If you hit other spots, it is going to kind of decrease the amount of loot you get. Once you have the cursor on the head, you're going to hold left click, and when the circle that moves in enters the yellow circle, you're going to let go, but you're not going to let it go past the inner circle. So it needs to be in that yellow portion. Then after you shoot, a gun icon will show up with an arrow moving left to right, and you need to press space when it's in the yellow zone. Your goal for sniper hunting is to always hit in the head while hitting in the circle, and so that will show as a critical perfect shot. For sniper hunting, I suggest you get high ground on your targets because it can be hard to see stuff that's up a hill from you. So get a little bit of high ground on them and just start shooting. Also, for sniper hunting, make sure that you have pretty high level clothes and a level 10 sniper if you're going to the more advanced zones, because it can be pretty scary. Now let's talk about what you should be hunting. First, if you need any specific meat that comes from only hunting creatures, use the BDOLytics map, and you will be able to search by the meat that you need, and you can find the meat that way. But if you're going for different items that you need, such as like enhancement items or other things, there's a few zones that I suggest you stick to. So first off, you can go to Narkion. If you do the quests that I listed above, you will be able to get daily quests in this area, so make sure you pick those up. And while you are hunting here, sometimes some boss monsters will appear. They just give you some more items and I think a higher chance at a Breath of Narkion. You also will sometimes get bonus quests while hunting, and you get a reward, which is a Narc's Wish Stone, which is 1/30th of a Breath of Narkion. It's pretty much a pity piece. And this can drop from any monster. Do those if you get them. They're pretty important. Another spot you can go is the Everfrost area, and you are going to get these things called Breath of Omua, which are also used in statue crafting similarly to the Narkion breaths, but not exactly the same because the Breath of Narkion is also used to make the Master Matchlock, but they are both used for furniture that buffs stats. So while you are doing this, you can get the drop, or you can also get more bonus quests and you'll get a 1/30th of it, and it's called the Eberdork's Grudge. So combining 30 of those will get you a Breath of Omua. I would say just try to get as much mastery as possible while you are hunting so you have the highest chance of getting these. Finally, the last spot I suggest is sniper hunting in the area above Sangoon's Cave. And from this spot, you can get a lot of really good stuff too. So you can get crystals of bitterness, decimation, and forest crystals. Forest crystals are used to make the mastery and experience crystals for life skilling, and the others are fairly commonly used in endgame setups, especially the decimation. You also can get stuff that makes statues that buff your stats here, so this is a fairly good spot to be as well. If you're looking for specifically enhancing materials and XP though, I suggest you do rhinos at Narkion, or you can do Land of Morning Light sniper hunting. Either one is going to be pretty good on materials and on experience. There are also a few other things that you should be looking out for while you are hunting. So there are 3 different bosses. There are blue whales, fugitive culk, and rar. Blue whales drop the most expensive ingredient used in 2 very useful perfumes. It's the blue whale oil. You also receive sharps and black gems in fairly high quantities, but you need to do this as a group. There is a Discord for NA that you can join. If you would like an invite, let me know in the comments or message me on Discord, and I will get you in touch with them. For other regions, I'm sure there are Discords that track them as well, but I'm not sure. The Discord also tracks Fugitive Culk, which also needs to be done on a party and on horseback. He drops the item that is used to make Culk's elixirs, and he also drops a lot of other stuff such as sharps and enhancing materials and stuff like that. Finally, the last boss, which is tracked in the North America boss Discord, the one where all the other world bosses are tracked, that one is probably the most important one you're going to want to go to until you get your Master Matchlock. And from this, you can get Breath of Narkion, you get obviously the enhancing materials, and you also can get a Rarar's Heart, which increases the durability of your Master Matchlock. So I would suggest going to this whenever you can. It spawns usually once a day, maybe twice a day, and you just got to keep an eye out as it has a window instead of a set time. Finally, let's talk about Wildsparks, which are obtained very commonly while you are butchering. You can exchange these with Liana in any major city for 5 black gem fragments, 1 spirit pouch of Ferocious Beast, which is used for DNA Awakening, or 900 contribution points and some hunting XP. So you can choose any of those 3 things. Personally, I choose the spirit pouch because I'm working on Dream Horses, but if you're looking for the most bang for your buck, and you're selling stuff on the central market, go for the black gem fragments. Also, if you're looking bad on contribution points and you want more XP, then you can do that as well. Any of them are fine. You can do whatever you want. And I think that's going to be all for this video. If there are any corrections or anything I missed, I will put it in a pinned comment. So make sure you look at that before you leave. And next video, we are going to be talking about cooking.